lovey. The sooner you understand it ain't what you say, it's what Ma said it count.
Hopefully years from now, folks return to this, see, maybe see it for the first time. What will people be able to take away from this? I mean, about Chadwick, both who he was as an actor and as a person.
Well, the thing that I know is that his wife told me at his memorial that he was most proud of this film, for this film to be his final film. Most proud. I have been sort of taking a look at, the way we're going to roll out this film. It's more of a legacy film now for me. Mm-hmm. It's about many things, but for my money, I want to, hold up my friend Chadwick and the work that he did and how he was as a leader. Not only a leader of a company, but also a leader in our communities and what he represented. He truly, he was a king. He truly was. I've known him for many years, and we did a reading once in New York of a play, and then we did 42.
Right.
I was actually, my role is actually cut out of it, so it's like I'm like, I did 42 with Chad, but yeah, the role is like in vaults somewhere or on the cutting room floor. I guess it wasn't necessary. It really wasn't actually. I honestly know that. But then when we finally were able to do Ma Rainey, the first thing he said to me was when he saw me in rehearsal was like, "Oh, I just can't wait to dance with you, brother. I can't wait." And so we were excited to be in a room with each other. So I think I want people to know about that enthusiasm, about our work ethic, because it required so much. I mean, boy, we had to learn to play instruments, and like we fully learned to play. I played the trombone. He played the trumpet. We truly learned those things because that's what's required. August Wilson will lay something in there emotionally for you to be required, physically, spiritually, and you've got to give it all and leave it on that stage or leave it on that screen. And I think that we did.
Do you know how much trouble we'll get into if we're found with Jenny's sister?
We're in trouble anyway. We should have taken him out.
What are you talking about?
The Rangers. We could have killed him and been miles away by now.
Why didn't you?
Good question.
When I was approached with even auditioning for this role, I had just moved back from London where I was performing for 2 years. And I was really having a reset and thinking about what kind of work would I like to do when I'm back in New York. And I wanted things that are challenging. I'd been on this journey. I just finished doing the Scottsboro Boys on the West End. And when you do a show like that, it's hard to go back to anything. You can't do anything less than that. It's got to, move the dial. It's got to be like, it's got to make you feel like you're a part of the world and doing something important. And so I really was going to say, I said no to a lot of things immediately. And then this audition came up, and I thought, my agent was very excited about it, and I thought, I don't even know what this is. I said, I didn't see myself in sort of a genre world in some way. And to be very honest, I was a bit of a theater snob. I was very much like, I'm like, well, unless the work needs to be really good. It needs to be really challenging. And little did I know that the state of television had been changing, and the work has been really developed with such nuance and interesting character. And so the character Victor Strand, I just thought was, the first episode that I read, they knocked it out the park. It was like reading King Lear or Richard III. And I just thought, whoa, this is cool. This is on television. And I just, I threw in I felt like it was like an electric blue suit, learned the lines in like 2 hours, and like did a quick self-tape. And then I got the offer. When I got the offer 2 days later, just from the self-tape, I got the offer for the Get Down as well at the same time. And I already met with Baz Luhrmann, and we walked through storyboards and things like that. And I really thought and I couldn't do both, apparently. I tried to do both, but I was like, well, they both seem like awesome opportunities. And the Baz Luhrmann part of it and the New York part of it, I felt like I knew and I understood it. The Fear the Walking Dead, moving to shoot in Vancouver and Los Angeles, and then eventually to Mexico and wherever else, I didn't know. I was really curious about it. And I felt like it scared me a little bit. I didn't know what it was. And so I decided it was a time in my career to continue to do the things that scare me and jump off a ledge.
You're playing pool with Minnesota Fats.
Who was Minnesota Fats?
The greatest motherfucking pool player that ever lived.
Okay.
I'm Ali. Let me know when you want to stop trying to kill yourself. You need some pancakes.
Well, it's funny because I think I realized in the past few years, I've always been paired with some of the some young Hollywood in a way. Like I'm Assassination Nation. I'm like, here I am doing a movie with Bella Thorne and Odessa Young, and all these young kids. I don't know what that says about me. I mean, maybe I'm young, but also I think that doing a show like Euphoria. I love the role in particular. He really is like someone who allows Rue, to be honest, to be sincere. And he demands that of her. Like, you don't have to bullshit with me. Our episode that's going to air in December, which is, it's a nice little bridge episode between seasons until she's able to come back and we're starting so we can shoot after she's done with Spider-Man. But it's a really beautiful episode and it's just me and Zendaya. And it's really, I think it's really special.
They're not too much for Tish.
All right. What's going on?
It felt like a meditation, to be honest. It felt like it was as quiet as it felt. Barry allowed us to do our work. He's a very graceful man. I feel like he's like it makes me feel like he's like, choreographing dance or music in some way, because he's really gentle and he's confident, knowing that he cast you to perform a duty, and he trusts you. There was a lot of trust when you have all these actors that I felt like are beasts. You have, Regina King, you have Angelou Ellis, you have Michael. They were all in there, but there's such a sense of generosity between all these actors that that you can't do this. You can't have your performance without someone else. That there's nothing that's a solo. So it was created that way. We first, he made sure we had dinners and we took care of each other. There was so much care between all of us, because also most of it was shot especially my stuff was shot in this apartment in Harlem. And it had that comfort. He made sure things were in the drawers for you. So it felt like in a way that you were doing a play, And he, I love playing Joseph so much. He reminded me of all the blue collar men that I thought were superheroes that never got their story told. The ones who hold down their families so everyone else can fly. And he knew that was his job and being in service to that, to create strong, interesting, powerful young women and put them into the world and not feel challenged or threatened by it, to have a strong woman who's able to go off to Puerto Rico. I mean, it's all in James Baldwin's writing. You're like, These men I understand, but you don't see often. You see these over-sexualized tropes of Black men, but you have this examination, which is such a partnership between husband and wife, between, your daughters, things like that. It's beautiful.
I don't fly! You're flying right now, asshole! Why'd you make me do that? You're welcome. I haven't flown since Lorraine died, and now you ruined it.
You were in an episode of BoJack Horseman, which eternally grateful for, because it gave us this duet between some Broadway legends. We get you and Jane Krakowski. Like, how lucky are we?
How lucky. I was truly lucky when they offered me that role. I was like, what? This is beautiful. What was I, a flea or something like that? I was a
dragonfly? Yeah, you're flying. Yeah.
But I had a wing that was busted. I couldn't fly because, he didn't like to fly because he had like emotional trauma.
Right.
And I loved creating his voice, because I was like, he's like any old craggy Black man that I know. Just through with all of it, not for anyone's bullshit, anything. He's like, again, he goes into my canon of men that I understand. And so even like, I love, I always try to put a little bit of someone that I truly know and understand that's personalized to me, so I can hear their voice in it,
I was always curious though, was it known when you were first talking about that role that the singing and the duet with Jane would be a part of it, or did that kind of, No,
I sang my part. I didn't know who was singing the other part.
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea. And then when I saw it, I was like, are you fucking...
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Are you fucking kidding me? Jane Krakowski? Oh, I've been a huge fan of her for years. So it's beautiful because it's really emotional, actually.
Oh my gosh.
I think people rated it many times like in one of the highest, rated songs on BoJack Horseman or episodes. And I understand because it really goes to the emotional core of true trauma for both of these people. But that's what I love about BoJack Horseman. I was like, that was like a cartoon like no other.
You got springy hair for a white man.
My last barber hanged himself. And the one before that. Left me his scissors in his will.
When directors invite me into a room to be a part of a project, they want not only an actor, they want someone who's also an activist. They want someone who is going to raise questions, who want to create the thing and make it really awesome. And people who have an ego, but the ego is not about who's right or wrong. It's more about the ego of saying, yeah, I want you to do your work. So anytime I'm invited to a room with like Spielberg or David DeVerne or Lee Daniels or Nate Parker, you name it, I know that they want all of me. They want me to come in with because I'm a research whore. I really, before I do any project, that's the part that I love. I love rehearsal. I love research. I love finding out what makes everything tick, so I can know so much about the character and then make it look easy, and then and just live in that world. That's the beautiful part for me as an actor that I love to do. So I love that I'm able to if I have something massive to interrogate, the more thrilled that I am. For the limited screen time that I had in Lincoln, I took myself to the Civil War Museum in DC I researched for a week and I spent my own money and did my research, learning different battles, etc. I want to know everything so I can really be centered in the moment, So that's the part that I enjoy. I enjoy possibly the rehearsal and research more than actually shooting.
Hello, I'm Maya Angelou, poet, historian, civil rights activist, queen. Today's Craigslist passage is dated November 28th from the man-for-man section of Casual Encounters.
It was very niche in terms of what gay people laugh and talk about. And so it was always like, we were all in on the joke. But now there's such a level of sensitivity over certain things, rightfully so, that I feel like you can't touch now. We were going there. So when people look at that, especially like we had 3 seasons, I did 2 and 3, and with Kate McKinnon's work on it as well. Like, we all in this place of like really creating this interesting, weird sketch show that was truly filling a niche and was really honest about what it was. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I think like it lived in my wheelhouse. I think when I tell people I started out in the circus and some of the other things I did was sketch comedy, they're like, wait, what? Who are you? Because now you're doing all these major dramas and television series. I say, yeah, but in the heart, I'm a clown. I said, I'm actually a clown. And a clown is like, I'm a Perot clown. I think I'm a clown that is sensitive, who has questions, who leads with an open heart, but has a dark sense of humor. So that makes sense to me that I'm a part of things like Big Gay Sketch Show. I mean, Jesus, I got to play Maya Angelou and Nick Cannon and Morgan Freeman and Tyra Banks and Beyonce. I mean, what? When people are like, what? I blow or like Whoopi. People like, when I show people that, I showed Kim Dickens that a while ago, and she cannot believe her eyes. I was like, oh, no. I did them all. And I didn't do it because I was like a sketch comedy actor. I was just an actor that had an audition that could play different characters. Again, I'm a character actor. Like, yeah, you give me, I'll do some research on that and I'll get their voice. And I played RuPaul at some point. And I look back at that RuPaul episode. I'm like, I really look like RuPaul. And I sound like because I just did the work. I was like, oh, if they have great character traits that are sized up, I can figure it out and look at their tics and portray them. And it's fun, yeah.
Culture is cosmetic. Culture is cosmetic. Culture is cosmetic. Culture is cosmetic. What's inside is just a lie. What's inside is just a lie. What's inside is just a lie. What's inside is just a lie.
Many people don't know, I used to live in Berkeley. I used to live in San Francisco for 10 years. And so I felt like my mother was sending me back to the place that sort of nurtured me in my 20s that would give me some comfort during this time that I was, I lost my mom. And I worked it out, and I feel like it changed and transformed me. And I did a lot of my healing in Berkeley. And then we moved it to the public and then eventually to Broadway. And even in the Spike Lee film, A Passing Stranger, there's a moment at the very end where we're saying, yeah, it's all right. And Stu's holding me. Now, both of us, we don't remember that moment. Where it's that last moment it's a curated moment that Spike Lee did to just be for the film, which was just this moment of ecstasy. We got to this place that we were trying to get to for a long time, which was pure ecstasy and art transforming, becoming to this religious cathartic moment. And it did. And I'm laying in Stu's arms and I'm saying it's all right. And we're looking at each other and I'm looking up and I look at it now. I look like I was looking to the heavens, talking to my mother, saying it's all right now, because I needed this journey of this piece of theater where I always believe that art does save lives. And I know that that piece of art saved my life. I don't know where I would have been without it. If I didn't have this piece of art that was going to help me wrestle, transform, deal with my grief, I don't know where I would be. So I owe that experience and those people. They truly are my family as well. That's my Passing Strange family, because we all went into it and it changed all of our lives. It changed my career. It changed how I do my work. The character of Venus of Berlin, that you can probably find on YouTube, that character, by playing a German performance artist who had the integrity of his art and willing to asphyxiate himself on a stage with that rawness and that honesty and that ferocity. I had to learn that in my life, that that's the way I learned to live my life without really caring about the response to the art or the work. My job was to do it and be committed to it. And I think that transformed me as an artist and as a human being.
I just moved in around the corner.
The old candy factory.
I'm an artist.
You looking for Candyman.
I love that they're calling it a spiritual sequel, because it's like sort of like the legacy of what was left behind in the Cabrini Green projects. What does trauma do to a neighborhood and a community? And I think that my character is someone he sort of owns the trauma in the neighborhood in some way. They call him an old timer. He's someone who's been still living there when people have been moving out, when buildings have been abandoned, you name it, but he's still part of the old order. And what does that mean for the people that sort of have been left behind as gentrification comes in and takes over? And do they still look at the guy who runs the laundromat and look at his story? Or do they just come in and believe that this is all brand new and it's their world? And I think what my character, the thing I could say is that what my character is, I think, trying to wrestle with is that you can't have one without the other. And I think he's sort of proposing that question. How do you gentrify a neighborhood without actually knowing the neighborhood and knowing the history of what was there? And so I think that's a great question. It's a huge question, I think. It's about displacement of people. It's about, again, here's another project that I think I'm very passionate about.